Good morning, folks. We did get part 2 of plasma climate forcing out last night. We're going to hit the sun, earthquakes, top science news, and Neil deGrasse Tyson today. But we're starting with our star at spaceweathernews.com, and we find the southern coronal hole system's trailing portions here much more robust than the patchy structures seen in previous days. While it caught a few hours of decay 36 hours ago, the southern sunspot is still there as well. It has managed to overcome its decay phase and enter central heliographic longitudes, with its little umbral core still dancing beneath the bright magnetic fields. Still no flares without proper magnetic mixing of developed umbra. The solar wind is up next. Quite a bit of variability, but once again, left side scale shows plasma speed low and in normal range, so geomagnetic conditions once again remain calm for the time being. Top earthquake of the last day was by far the Blood Echo depth rumble in Mexico. Actually, the top 3 events of the last day all struck the low velocity zone. In addition to those, any Iceland rumble over 4.5 could signal the beginning of volcanic activity at the island. Eyes open there. Let's grind out these top science articles, starting with one relating to yesterday's story about the August 2018 solar storm, which they say here actually had its strongest effects at low latitude. And we must remember that with the equatorial ion fountain also runs the equatorial electrojet, basically running along the magnetic equator, and it induces ground disturbance just like the polar auroral electrojets. But speaking of ionospheric study, turns out we might not be so good at tracking its evolution and character during significant events, especially solar storms, when they say that the errors maximize in mapping of the global ionosphere. Oops. We'll continue our throwback articles here, a good one on the precipice of the next sunspot cycle, and it was one of my favorites from early in 2019, where the top American solar physics team confirmed the Japanese team's analysis that our star has a secret 6th magnetic gear and can produce rare superflare outbursts. Please recall it was just confirmed again by the top Chinese solar team this last week using TESS. I have included both of these older links so you can help square up with the reality of living with the sun. Cheap shot here, and then a much more deserved one. COSINE-100 has found its purpose. The cosmic radionuclide analysis capability at the facility is probably the best on Earth, and I couldn't be happier for them, considering their entire purpose and enormous funding came from a promise to deliver dark matter. Oops. Up next, hi Neil. We've been seeing a lot of you lately, haven't we? Up to 95% of all ads on this channel are for your new masterclass show. And I know it's really them doing the advertising, so if you would be so kind as to let me use this news show to deliver a message, I think I will. Dear Masterclass, you put out that you are the masters and that we don't know how to think, and that there is commentary about knowing enough to be dangerous but not knowing the truth. Thinly veiled messages and insults to observers will get you nowhere. How's the endless discourse on WIMPs? How's the climate change stance look in the face of the AGU fall meeting, IPCC changes, and other publications demonstrating that the sun is the driver of climate change? People here watched me call out no dark matter, solar climate forcing, and electroquakes back in 2011. That makes a still looking, changing now, and AGU released the 2018 textbook Pre-Earthquake Processes. How many masterclass students have won national science championships? How did an economist/lawyer do all of this with about as much mainstream support as Trump? I'll tell you. This is the masterclass, and we meet here daily. There are no holidays or weekends or days off. This house ain't for rookies or shills. Stick around. You might learn something. Last link today is on the plume tree shape of the mantle large structure and how the upper mantle viscosity transforms it from the larger plumes into the thinner lava flow tree-like structures that feed volcanoes. The large-scale structure itself does indeed go down to the core. It's the reason the Earth is not stably rotating around a symmetrical second axis, and it's why the concept of this planet's unstoppable rotation and tilt angle inertia just has a bigger dog waiting behind it. We went over this in the Great Waves video, along with 2 previous, more technical reviews of the Jenna-Bekoff effect. All of this is linked for you below. A quick note to website members. I apologize, I know that's not the proper title of a podcast, it's more of a thought segment, but I don't know what else to tell you. We hit literally everything in the show yesterday, and then some. Last but not least, indeed, part 2 of that plasma climate forcing series came out last night. Be sure to keep up as we've got more coming this week. We greatly appreciate your support, Neil. We've got wind map forecasts and shots of our star to close, and of course, we'll do this all again tomorrow, right here, but right now it's 4:20 a.m. in the new Valley of the Sun. Eyes open, no fear. Be safe, everyone.